Hi, welcome to Coding with Darren. I have a master's degree in physics from Imperial College London and graduated in 1997. I designed satellites at Marconi and I have been a quantitative trader for the past 20 years on trading desks. In this video, I will be reviewing 3 different declaration types in NodeJS or JavaScript. 3 types are constant, let, and var. The difference between the types, the declaration types, is scoping, which refers to the relevance of the different parts in a computer program. In general, the computer program is broken down into 3 sections. We have a global scope, which is the biggest scope or the top level scope, and then we have the functional scope, which is the next scoping down, which are things like functions. And then we have a block scope, which are smaller things that are contained within functions, for example, in a for loop. And as part of what I'm going to do, I'm going to show, when I come to show the difference between the let and the var keywords, I'm actually going to do that by implementing a for loop, and you'll see what happens as we go along. So I'm going to move over here into the Visual Studio Code editor, and I'm going to start with just a declaration of a standard variable. And variables can come as strings, they can come as numbers and booleans. So here, for example, I could set x to be a string, hello world. Now you'll notice here that I haven't actually put anything before the x, and I haven't used any semicolons. There is a different way of doing it, or let's say a proper typed way, and that will be to do var x equals and then hello world, like this, and actually put a semicolon at the end. But quite frankly, the editor already knows where the line ends, so the semicolon isn't needed. And it also actually realizes that if you leave out the var keyword, and if I hover over it, you can see it there, it's automatically assumed to be var. But we're going to stick with the proper type for the moment, so we will say var x equals hello world, and we will log this to the console. Log and then x, and in the console down below, which is down below here where I'm highlighting, we will get the hello world. So I'm just going to press F5. And here we've declared a variable, so this is a variable. But as I said, there are 3 types of variables. We'll have our constants, and they have the global scope, so I'll put this at the top, constant. And this is quite particular because constant means constant. Constant means it can't change. So constant means that the variable cannot change. So if we set const, we'll set a constant of y equals 100. We might want to log that to the console just to see that we've got y equals 100. So let's log that to the console, and we'll try and change the value of y to y equals 20. And notice I haven't put a var in here this time, just because it's not really necessary, and I'm not going to keep on putting vars in everywhere. And yeah, when you initialize the value, you'll put it in, but afterwards it's not really the done thing to do, so we don't do it. But what we are actually going to see is y is set to 100 on line number 9 here. We're going to log that to the console, and we're going to get 100 out in the console. And then we're going to set y equal to the value of 20. What's going to actually happen is, because we've got a constant on line number 9, we've declared it as a constant, the computer program is going to expect y to not change. It's going to supposed to be a constant. So we're going to get a break in the program. The program is going to say, wait a minute, you've set the value to y on line number 9, and I thought it wasn't going to change, but it has changed, and that's a problem. So let's hit the F5 key, which is also, by the way, on the Visual Studio Code browser. It's the F5 button here. It starts a debugging session. So I'll just hit the F5 key and we'll watch it run. And the debugger, there you go, line number 12, we've got something called a type error, assignment to constant variable. And that's a problem because we told the computer that y was never going to change. And in certain conditions and things where y might not change, for example, if you were setting y to equal to the value of pi, you wouldn't really want that to change because you don't want your value of pi to change. So my y might have been 3.14159, and we wouldn't want that to change. So therefore, the constant would be recognized there. Now, I'll remove that so that it works, and that's the example of a constant, and constant will remain throughout the program. We then had the variable, which is x, and we set var x to be hello world, and then we can actually change x. Instead of hello world, in the line below it, we can say x equals 10. And let's try running this. So this time we're going to log the 3.14159 into the y. There's not going to be no problem there. Then we're going to run down to line number 13 and 14, which is variable x. We're going to set x to be hello world. It's a string. And then we're going to set x to be something else, an integer value of number 10. We're going to log that to the console. Let's just see how that runs. What actually happens here is, you see, although we've set on line 14 x to be hello world, we've actually reset its value, and we can keep on resetting its value to anything we like. X equals 1000. And there's a key difference between constant and var, is that with the variable, with var, you can just keep changing. So here we go, we'll run it again, F5, and it's just going to take its last assigned value. Now there's a third type, which is the let type, and in order to show this, so this is the third type, let, which has the smallest scope. It's got something called a block scope of x is, and then we're just going to put our x in here. Now what's going to happen is that we are going to get the value of x is 0, the value of x is 1, the value of x is 2, and we're going to go all the way up to 24. When it gets to 25, it will have failed. Well, it's going to jump out of the loop here because it won't have satisfied the criteria. X is no longer less than 25, so it will jump out of this for loop, and x would have been left at the value of 25. And then we're going to come down to this line and we're going to console log x, and really we're going to have this question, and the question is, what will be printed of 25 at this point in time? And notice I've written it as a comment, so it isn't setting it to anything, and we're actually going to run it now at this point. And that really is the difference between const, var, and let. They're the three keywords. And on the next video, I'm actually going to try and go through data types. So there's different types of data that I spoke about, which are strings. There's also numbers. I'm just going to keep it simple at this point in time. Numbers are classified as integers and longs and other things in various different languages, but we just call them numbers for now. And then we've got booleans, which are true values and falses, so they're trues and falses. And there are arrays. I'll put arrays in square blocks just because you'll see why on the next chapter when we do it, arrays. And there are objects. lots of a few different data types. The main ones, though, really are actually strings and numbers. You could say booleans as well. They are trues and falses, or ones and zeros. You could use numbers to represent booleans because you could just use 1 and 0. True will be of the value 1, and false will be of the value 0. And we'll pick that up on the next course. So thank you for listening, and I hope you watch other videos. And if you've got any comments, please do message them, because it's a learning education for us all.